Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe right here to our YouTube channel at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you like this watch, see it in detail and purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing the Bremont Boeing Model 1 GMT from 2014, when Bremont of England and Boeing of Seattle announced their collaboration. The result was a series of surprisingly subtle, aviation-themed Boeing branded timepieces for aviators and armchair aviators, and this might be the most appealing. This is the Model 1 GMT Black with black dial, and everything about this watch is designed for functionality and survivability. It's also designed for wearability. In aviation spec grade 5 titanium, the 43mm case wears easily on my wrist. Now you can see it uses Bremont's signature triptych modular case construction, so that 43 wears more like a 41 because of the way the lugs are physically separated from the canister holding the movement and the dial. Lug to Lug, it's a big watch, but not an overpowering timepiece. It's a 51.8mm lug to lug, but once more, you need to consider the shape of the lug as they create effectively camber and arc from side to side to visually wrap around your wrist. In terms of thickness, it's probably not as thick as you'd think. Sheer of flank, but only 14.3mm thick. It's far slimmer than expected, and it will fit underneath a jacket cuff. I enjoy the fact that Bremont uses broad spacing about its lugs, and the 22mm width of this one looks contemporary and is nicely matched to the substantial form of the case and the substantial Seattle style strap to match. You can see this is a sort of hybrid textile strap with a combination of synthetic materials designed to evoke the look of leather, embossed leather, and give you the water resistance that you would expect from an all-purpose strap on a 100-meter water-resistant watch. So you can see there is a slight contrast between the black and the blues. It looks very much like the embossed leather used by IWC, but make no mistake, this is actually water-resistant. The buckle is a Bremont piece that features a combination of polish and satin, nicely detailed for what's normally a default design throwaway piece for most brands. You can see it uses that strider system that I like, where you have two prongs on the flanks and a raised center section so that the strap, once buckled, fits flush against your wrist and sits lower. Well thought out. You'll also note that this watch uses hex screws to fix the strap to the case, and that's an excellent arrangement. Bell & Ross also does this, and this is the way screw fixing that every luxury watch company should fix its straps. We should not be dependent on spring bars to fix 4-figure, 5-figure, and 6-figure watches to our wrist in the year 2018. Bremont, well done. That inspires confidence. The case band is a combination of horizontally striated and DLC-coated black titanium at center, and principally satin, but also partially polished and beveled grade 5 titanium in its natural coloration outboard. You will note that Bremont uses a off-centered crown to help avoid digging the wrist, and there's also a robust shear guard that's built up around the crown to protect it. Inset Bremont propeller motif and a slash-cut double knurling. You can see there's broad and narrow knurling that is deep, sharp, and easy to grip. You'll also note that the bezel is integrated with the same slash-cut pattern. It's flush with the case flank, which creates a neat look, and it's an aviator-style bezel, fully loomed with a ceramic insert for scratch resistance. It's not going to be life-saving diving equipment, but you can still use it because it can't be a dive bezel because it moves in both directions. You can still line it up with either the minute or the hour hand, depending on what interval you want to time, and it makes a wonderful 0 to 60-minute timer, for example. I happen to prefer using a timing bezel over a chronograph 10 times out of 10 for most things I need to time. The dial base is of matte finish to reduce glare. The contrast between the white and the black of the dial is excellent, so the calibration is easily legible. Classic aviator style quarter Arabics at 12, 3, 6, and 9. You will note a few splashes of color with an asymmetrical half delta style seconds hand and a bright yellow and fully loomed GMT hand. Now it's a 24-hour GMT hand, 12-hour local hand, and you'll note that the watch is both shock resistant, that's what that little blue and white bracket logo means, as well as a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. Let's get a little bit closer and appreciate some of these dial details up close. You will note that the watch features a ETA 28932 in chronometer spec, and one of the most appealing features of the 2893 which is what's in this watch, is that the 2892-based dual time movement has one direction in which you can turn the crown in the intermediate position to step the 24-hour hand, and then in the opposite direction you can step and quick set the date. Most dual time movements force you to give up the quick set date. You generally drive the date by turning the local hour hand. This is a different way of doing it and a lot more intuitive for those of us who are used to having a traditional quick set. Now you pull it to extremity, grip the case a little bit better, and you will note you can stop the movement, you can synchronize, and you can move everything coincident with that 24-hour hand moving at half the speed of the local hour hand. You'll also note that the minute and hour hands themselves, as well as the root of the 24-hour hand, are blackened to simplify and unclutter the dial. You'll also note applied indices for most of the hours. Turning over, now we're looking at that chronometer grade 2893. Beats away at 4 Hz, 28,800 vibrations per hour, hacking seconds, quick set date, dual time in 12 and 24-hour formats, COSC certified Swiss chronometer with the phenomenal Edachron fine regulation mechanism that allows for maintenance of that chronometer status through many services. And you will note outboard these blue tested beyond endurance inset rubber bumpers, and they are designed to isolate the movement from the case. So they physically separate the movement and its spacer from the case. That's how it isolates the movement from shock. You still have Inca block, but you also have that secondary shock resistance and isolation system. A lot like what you'll find on high-end Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Extremes, the older Glasuta Original Sport Evolution Impact Series, and contemporary Richard Mille. Bidirectional automatic winding, there is no unidirectional rotor wobble, all of this water resistant to 100 meters. It's a lot of functionality, and it's highly stylized with a combination of snailing, engine-turned perlage, and a turbine-style Bremont custom rotor with lacquered letters on black. A gorgeous and easy-to-wear 43 that's ideal for sports watch enthusiasts, those who like smaller independent brands, and fans of the resurgent British watchmaking, as this is a London-built watch. You can see and purchase this Bremont Boeing Model 1 GMT Black on the watch box.